It was early in the morning when the sound of loud wailing filled the compound. The villagers gathered quickly, already guessing what had happened. Mr. Tobechukwu, a respected man in the community and the sole provider for his family, had passed away in his sleep. His death was a heavy blow to the family and the villagers. People whispered prayers and shook their heads. Life was about to become very hard for the loved ones he had left behind. Ada, his first daughter, sat on the floor, tears rolling down her cheeks. Her younger brother, Emeka, clung to their mother, confused and frightened. Ozioma, the youngest of the three, kept asking if their father would wake up and come back to them. Mrs. Tobechukwu was inconsolable. She cried loudly, hitting her chest and calling her husband's name. No, it is not possible. In the days that followed, friends and relatives came to mourn with the family. But after the burial, one by one, the visitors left. The food donation stopped. The house fell quiet. That was when the reality of their new life began to sink in. Mrs. Tobechukwu had been a full-time housewife. She never worked because her husband had provided everything they needed. Now, there was no money for food, no money for school fees, and no plan for the future. Ada knew things had to change forever. It was a bright Monday morning when Ada heard her siblings preparing for school. She sat quietly in the corner, dressed in her uniform, but with no books or bag. Her heart was heavy. Her mother had already told her there was not enough money to pay for all the three of them. Someone had to stop schooling. Ada looked at her younger siblings and made a decision. Mama, let Emeka and Ozioma continue with their education. I will stop for now, she said. Her voice was calm, but her heart was breaking. Mrs. Tobechukwu didn't argue. She nodded slowly and turned her face away. Ada had always been a brilliant student. Her teachers praised her and she dreamt of becoming a nurse one day. She had always come first position in her class, but now her dream had to wait or maybe never come to fruition. There were mouths to feed, school fees to be paid, and someone had to make sure the family survived. She began hawking pap in the morning. With a small basin on her head, she walked from house to house, calling out, "Fresh pap! Fresh pap!" Some people bought from her, while others ignored her. She would return home tired, but with a few naira in her pocket. Her classmates sometimes saw her on the streets and pitied her. The once brilliant Ada was now hawking on the streets. But Ada held her head high. She was doing it for her family. After hawking pap in the morning, Ada would rest for a short while before heading to Mama Plus restaurant in the afternoon. Mama Plus was a small local restaurant in the village. It was always busy and the owners needed extra hands. Ada became one of the sales girls. She served food, washed plates, cleaned tables, and sometimes helped in the kitchen. The work was hard, really hard, and the hours were long, but she didn't complain. Mama Plus, the owner of the restaurant, paid her a small daily wage and sometimes customers gave her tips. Every night, she returned home exhausted. Her feet ached and her back hurt, but she always brought something home. Sometimes it was leftover food from the restaurant. Other times, it was money. Her mother would collect the money without much thanks, counting it and complaining that it was not enough. Ada often went to bed hungry, giving the little food they had to her siblings. She loved them dearly and wanted them to succeed. She believed that if they went to school and got good jobs, the family's suffering would end. No matter how hard Ada worked, it was never enough for her mother. "Is this all you brought back today?" Mrs. Tobechukwu would ask almost every evening. Ada would nod, wiping sweat from her face. "You know your siblings need to eat. Their school needs things. This money can't do anything oh. Ada, you have to work more harder." Ada began working extra hours. She hawked more pap, even added agidi to it early in the morning and stayed later at Mama Plus. Some days, she barely had time to rest. Her body grew thinner and her face lost its brightness, but she kept going. Ada wasn't one to complain. One evening, she came back with a bleeding toe. She had fallen while rushing to deliver pap to a customer. Instead of sympathy, her mother scolded her for not being careful. "As big as you are, is it that you don't look at the ground when you are walking? Ada?" Ada said nothing. She cleaned her wound and went to sleep without dinner. Neighbors noticed Ada's suffering and sometimes offered her small help, but her mother discouraged it. "Abeg o, we are not beggars," she would say. Yet she never stopped asking Ada for more and more. She refused to work, saying that she is still in mourning period and that she was mourning her late husband. Despite all this, Ada remained focused. She told herself that one day things would get better. One afternoon, around the time Ada just turned 18 years old, while serving food at Mama Plus restaurant, Ada met a new customer named Mr. Patrick. He was different from the others. He was always well dressed and polite. He was kind. He often came around lunchtime and always sat at the corner of the table. Patrick noticed how hardworking Ada was. She was always on her feet, smiling at customers, serving with care, and never complaining. One day, as she brought his plate of jollof rice, he asked, "Young lady, what's your name?" "Ada, sir," she replied shyly. "You work really hard," he said. "You should be in school." Ada smiled faintly. "Life didn't allow it, sir. That is life." They started chatting now and then. Patrick learned about her struggles and how she was caring for her family. He was touched by her selflessness and her story. Weeks later, he returned to the restaurant with good news. "Ada," he called after finishing his meal, "I have spoken to a friend who owns a hotel in the city. They need a receptionist and I know you can do it. I recommended you." Ada's eyes widened. "Me? In the city?" "Yes," Patrick said. "You are smart, hardworking, and trustworthy. It is a good job with a better pay. You deserve better than this." Ada was speechless. She thanked him over and over again. That night, for the first time in years, she cried tears of joy. She couldn't sleep. Maybe her life was about to change for the better. She told her mother about the job in the city. Her mother was excited. Really? She heard how much they were going to pay her per month. Hey, her mother told her dad to grab the opportunity very fast, not minding how she was going to cope without her family. Ada stood at the bus park, holding her small bag and clutching a piece of paper with the address of the hotel written on it. Her heart was beating fast with both excitement and fear. She had never left her village before. Everything she knew was within those dusty roads and familiar faces. But now she was stepping into an unknown world. The city was loud, fast, and full of people with tall buildings. When Ada got off the bus, she looked around in confusion. She asked for direction, and after a long walk and a few mistakes, she finally arrived at the hotel. It was bigger and more beautiful than any building she had ever seen. The manager welcomed her, already briefed by Patrick. He handed her a simple uniform and showed her around. You will work here at the front desk. Your job is to attend to guests, answer the phone, and keep records, he explained. Ada listened carefully, determined to learn everything, and within a week, she became very good at her job. She greeted guests with a warm smile, stayed polite, and kept everything neat. Customers loved her. Her salary was more than anything she had ever earned in her entire life. She finally felt like her hard work was beginning to pay off. Back in the village, Emeka and Ozioma had finished secondary school. When Ada called home, her voice was full of excitement. Tell them to get ready for university. I will make sure they go to the university, she promised her mother. Her siblings were excited. They were finally going to attend a university. She began saving every kobo she earned. She lived in a small room near the hotel, cooked her own food, and never bought anything unnecessary. Her clothes remained few, and she avoided social outing because she didn't want to spend recklessly. Her focus was on one thing: her siblings' future. Emeka gained admission first, followed by Ozioma. Ada was overwhelmed with happiness, but their fees were high and the money she had saved was not enough. Determined not to let them miss school, she took a loan from a cooperative society. The agreement was to pay back monthly over 5 years. Even though the loan reduced her salary to peanuts, Ada didn't mind. She tightened her belt even more. Some days, she went to bed with only water. She didn't tell her siblings or her mother how hard it was. All they needed to know was that Ada had everything under control. She would tell herself, Ada, you got this. Mrs. Tobechukwu began to call more often. Ada, send money now. I need to buy wrapper. There is a funeral next week, she said during one call. Another day, she complained about the roof of the house leaking in the village. Ada would explain, Mama, I just sent money for Emeka's textbook now. But her mother never listened. Did I not carry you for 9 months? Have you forgotten your mother so quickly? Is it because you are now in the city? These words pierced Ada's heart. No matter how much she sent, it was never enough. Her mother always found something else to demand. Ada began to feel pressure like never before. Her health started to fail and her weight dropped, but she kept working. One of her colleagues noticed. Ada, are you okay? She asked. Ada forced a smile. I am fine, I'm just tired. But inside, she was falling apart. 5 whole years went by. Emeka and Ozoma had finished university. Both of them got a job quickly thanks to the good results they had. Ada was proud. She could never be more proud as an elder sister who had sent her younger siblings to the university. She had done it. She had kept her promise. She waited for the day they would call her to say thank you. She imagined a day when her mother would say, well done, my Ada, but it never came. Instead, she heard of stories of how her siblings were sending money home, buying new clothes for their mother, giving her gifts, and taking her on outings. Ada was happy they were doing well, but there was no mention of her. No one asked how she was coping. No one offered to help her clear her loan. She tried to ignore the pain. At least they made it, she told herself. But deep inside, her heart was growing heavy. They never called to check up on her. She had no friends around in the city. To make matter worse, she had no romantic relationship with anyone as she had spent most of her time working just so to be able to clear her debts and meet up. It was really tough for her. The nights were lonely. One afternoon at the hotel, Ada was called into the manager's office. Her heart skipped, as it was not a norm, sir. How can I be of help? She asked. The manager looked serious. There has been a complaint. A guest is missing money. The CCTV shows you handling their keys. Ada's eyes widened. I didn't take anything, sir. I swear, I have never stolen in my life. But the manager had already made up his mind. Until we finish investigating, you are suspended. Days turned into weeks. The shame and uncertainty became too much. Her loan repayment stopped and she was called constantly by the cooperative. She had no money, no job, and no one to lean on. It was obvious that the suspension had turned to a layoff. She tried searching for other jobs, but she could not get any, as Mr. Patrick had only helped her secure the job by his connection. Then, as she did not really have a qualification, when the city became too harsh, she packed her things and returned to the village. Her heart was heavy, but she believed her family would comfort her, or so she thought. At first, her mother welcomed her. Emeka and Ozioma, her siblings, were quiet but polite. By the third day, her mother asked, Ada, when are you going back to the city? Ada lowered her eyes. I lost my job, Mama. Her mother's tone changed immediately. So, you came back here to be a burden to me, eh? Useless girl. After everything I did for you, now you are not even married. Job you don't have, money you don't bring. Is this how you want to repay me? I carried you for 9 months. Tell me, when last did you send me money? Ada was shocked. That is because I have lost my job for some time now, and I was optimistic that I would get another one. Mama, I sent all my money while I was working to this house. For years, I denied myself everything. Her mother raised her voice. And so, did I not carry you in my womb? That is more than any money you have sent to me. After all, don't you think it's your responsibility as a daughter to take care of your mother? See the way your siblings has been taking care of me. And if you think you cannot do it and you don't like it, leave. You can leave. And before Ada realized what was happening, her mother threw her bag outside. Emeka and Ozioma, her siblings, watched without a word. They didn't defend her. They didn't try to stop their mother. They just stood there watching. That was the day Ada's life changed before her face. She realized that she had labored in vain all these years and that the ones she had called family never really cared about her. Ada stood by the roadside with her bag, tears running down her face. Her heart was shattered. The people she had loved the most had turned their backs on her. She had nowhere to go. That night, as she stood by the roadside, a black luxury car stopped beside her. The driver rolled down the window and asked gently, "Are you okay? What are you doing out here this late?" Ada looked up with tear-stained eyes. I need help. I have nowhere to go. Get in. Let me take you somewhere safe, the man said. It is very dangerous out here. You are a young lady. That is the more reason why you need to be careful. His name was Lotana. He was on his way back from a late business meeting when he noticed Ada by the roadside holding a bag and looking completely lost. Something about the sadness in her eyes made him pull over. Let me help. I can take you to a hotel for the night. You will be safe there. Ada hesitated for a moment. She didn't want to trust a stranger, but the cold wind and her tired feet reminded her she had no other option. Lotana drove her to a decent hotel and paid for a night's stay. He gave her his business card and said, "If you ever need anything, just call me. I hope things get better." That night, Ada cried like never before. She cried herself to sleep, not just because of her pain, but also because someone had finally showed her kindness, someone she did not even know, a total stranger, when her own family turned their backs on her. The next morning, Ada was woken by a phone call. It was from her former boss, the CEO himself. Ada, the voice said, "We are so sorry. We reviewed the security footage again. It was not you. It was another staff member. The manager who framed you. You've been vindicated." The manager? What wrong has she done for him to frame her up like that? He had once asked her out and sexually harassed her, but she vehemently refused his continuous sexual harassment. Oh, was that what it was all about? Oh, that was why he framed her up? Ada could hardly breathe. She swallowed hard and asked the CEO, does does this mean I can come back? Not only that, he replied, "We'd like you to return as the new manager. Consider it as an apology for the wrong accusation." Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they were tears of relief. She called Lotana to share the news. He was happy for her and offered to drop her at the hotel for her return. As she stepped into her workplace again, heads turned. She walked in with confidence, this time not as a receptionist, but as the new manager. With her new position, Ada finally earned enough to take care of herself. She registered for a part-time program to continue her education. For the first time, she paid off the rest of her loan comfortably and even had enough money left for savings. She no longer sent money home weekly. She had learned her lesson the hard way. Her family never called to check on her. She didn't bother to reach out either. Ada bought herself new clothes, ate well, and even took time to rest. She also started volunteering at a local orphanage on weekends, giving to strangers who appreciated her, made her heart feel whole. Lotana began to call her regularly, checking up on her and asking how her day went. They would sometimes go out for lunch or have long phone conversations. He was gentle, funny, and Lotana was very respectful. Slowly, Ada allowed herself to smile again. Lotana eventually confessed his feeling to Ada. "I have never met someone so selfless and strong. I would be honored to walk through life with you," he asked. Ada blushed. "Are you sure?" "I came with a lot of pain and complicated past." "I don't mind," he replied. "Your past only make me admire you more and see your strength." Their relationship blossomed. Ada was being loved not because of what she gave, but because of who she was. One evening, Lotana invited her to a fancy restaurant. After dessert, he went down on one knee and proposed, "Ada, will you marry me?" With tears in her eyes and a heart full of joy, she said yes. However, news spread fast. Ada's engagement made it to social media because Lotana was a well-known businessman. Photos of them at events and vacation began to surface online. Her siblings saw it first and showed it to their mother. "Mama, see oh, Ada is doing so well now." Eh? That was when her mother called. "Ada, my daughter, it is your mother oh." Her voice unusually sweet. Ada remained silent over the phone. "We saw your pictures. You are doing well oh, Ada. I just called to tell you that you should please forgive us. We were wrong," her mother continued. Emeka and Ozioma also called, apologizing and pretending they missed her. They said they were young. I didn't understand how much she had sacrificed for them. But Ada had changed. She no longer craved their approval. She had found peace in herself. "I forgive you," she said finally. "But I will never forget, and I cannot go back to the way things used to be." Her words were firm but calm. She wished them well. but didn't invite them back into her life as before. Ada had built a new life, one where she was valued, respected, and loved. And for the first time ever, Ada chose herself. Thank you for watching this story. I hope you enjoyed watching. Kindly share the valuable lessons you have learned from this story as we interact in the comment section. Now tell me, if you were Ada, would you accept your family back? Like this video please, and kindly share this video to your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed. Until I come your way again with another story, for now from me it is bye.